everyone, it's Margie from the Westchester Children's Museum here once again to do another activity with you today. So this is a really fun one. This one's all about crystals. But what's a crystal? Maybe you've taken a closer look at a snowflake and you've seen all the tiny little crystals that create a repeating pattern in a snowflake. Or maybe you've seen jewelry that has a diamond or an emerald in it. So crystals can be formed in nature. And when crystals are formed in nature, it's usually when a hot liquid cools down that a crystal starts to form. And it starts to form because all those little molecules start running around and they try to stabilize. And once they do stabilize, they actually go in a repeating pattern or form in a repeating pattern. And that's what creates the shape of crystals to form that shape over and over and over again. So we're going to learn more about crystals, and we're actually going to make some at home. And you actually just need a couple things from your kitchen. So we're actually going to try to make a crystal garden. So get ready for what you need to make your crystal garden. So here's what you need to get started to create your crystal garden. So the first thing that you need is you need some salt. So you need some iodized salt, and 1 container will do. You need some vinegar. You need a measuring cup. You need a teaspoon. You're going to need a sponge, and you're going to cut that into 4 or 5 little small pieces. And then you need a plate or a Tupperware container or something to grow your garden in. So that's all you need to get started in creating your crystal garden. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started creating our crystal garden. So the first thing you want to do with your caregiver is to heat up 1 cup of water on the stove. So I've already done that, and I put it in a nice cup that can hold hot water. Next, what you want to do is you want to pour out 1/4 cup of salt. Now I put it into a cup, so that's 1/4 cup of salt. And I'm going to pour that into my cup. Then what you want to do is you want to pour out 2 teaspoons of your vinegar. So if I've already poured that out in a cup for you too, and I'm going to pour that in. Now then I want to stir and stir and stir. I need to stir until all that salt dissolves into that hot water. Keep stirring. I don't want to see any land at the bottom. Now what you can do too to make a colorful garden, you can actually add some food coloring. So I'm actually going to do that because we might get some more colorful crystals if we do that. So we're just about there, and I think all of my salt has dissolved. So it's dissolved into the water. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple drops of food coloring on my sponges. So I'm just going to drip them, drip, drip, drip. Okay, and you could do any colors that you want. So I'm going to do a couple drops of each just to make it really fun. There we go. Then what you want to do is I'm going to take one more stir in my mixture, and I want to pour that mixture over the top. Now I don't want to use it all. I'm going to save some of this for later. So I'm just going to drip it over the top of all of those. I don't want it to overflow from my dish. And they're all saturated. And there you go. So we're actually going to save this. We're going to put this in a container and leave it aside because you're going to have to keep putting more of this on. You're going to have to put your crystal garden in a window in the sun, and you're going to have to leave it overnight because that's when your crystals will start growing. So what happened and why? When we put salt into our hot water and a little bit of vinegar, that salt dissolved. Then that liquid began to cool. And once that liquid began to cool, our salt began to rise and crystallize. Then, when we took our mixture and poured it over our sponges, much of that water evaporated into the air, which gave us more of the salt that continues to crystallize. So that's how we created our crystal garden. But I challenge you to look to nature because there's lots of ways that crystals are formed in nature. And one of them is from molten lava. From deep down in the core of our earth that erupts from a volcano. That molten lava, when it cools, may often turn to crystals. And another place too is in water, where there is a lot of dissolved minerals. With a lot of heat and pressure in that water, crystals may form too. So I challenge you, see what else you can learn about crystals. Thanks so much. It's Margie from the Westchester Children's Museum, and I hope that you will come to our fabulous website because we have tons of great programs for you and resources as well. So have a great day. Thanks.